If the Roman soldiers kept their armour so shiny, how did they stop it from flashing in the sun and giving away their approach? Good question. My answer to that is I'm not really sure they wanted to surprise anyone. I mean, obviously, you've got ambush scenarios, but I can only imagine that in those particular scenarios, there will be measures taken. But for the large part, when you're deploying troops in a battle, a pre-battle situation, you've got a chest beat. You've got to scare the other lot as much as you can. Because the idea is, and this might sound strange, but the idea is you don't want to really engage. Because every time you're engaging, you're in chance of losing assets. And if you're Rome, you don't want to lose any soldiers because you spent a lot training them, kitting them out, drilling them. The last thing, fun enough, you want to actually do is necessarily have a fight. What you want to do is intimidate the opposition, make them run away. And this wasn't anything uniquely Roman. This is something we can see back, for example, with the ancient Greeks. And people, again, will often ask about Sparta and why was Sparta such an intimidatory force? Why did they have the reputation they had? Well, one of them was because they could deploy really well. And we hear of how they were marching in step as a large unit, a large group of men, all marching in step, often to the sound of an aulus, which was like a double pipe. You're watching that coming towards you, and you know you've got to struggle. You've got a really good unit there, because particularly in the phalanx, they're all marching in step, which means they'll move in step, which means the phalanx is going to be very well ordered. And as anyone who knows anything about a phalanx will tell you, the better ordered it is, the more effective it is. And you can see that in other societies as well. For example, with the Celts, they had the carnix, which was, or carynx, apologies. I'm suffering post-COVID here with my fog brain at the moment. But what they would do is they'd sound this horn, which was really quite tall, and it had the animal head, which is so it's quite scary to look at. And it would make this really, really intimidating noise. So you have a lot of the armies in antiquity looking to sort of chest beat, puff themselves up, and make sure the opposition are in a... They want to destabilize them psychologically before they engage. A kind of psyops, I think you'd consider it now. Scare the other lot. Make sure that they really don't want to be there. So if anyone's thinking about running, they run. And as you'll know, particularly again in I think it's in the Iliad where Ares is mentioned, and he has twin sons, and I think it's one of them's Rout. And the idea being that if you're fighting at that period, the worst thing that could happen was you had fear go through the phalanx or the hoplite force, and all of a sudden one person deciding they don't want to be there anymore leads to two, leads to three, leads to an entire line, and the next thing you know, you've got sort of disintegration of an entire unit because everyone's scared. So you want to try and employ that as much as you can. So I think with the Roman army, the way they marched in step, the way that they had their signifiers, their standard bearers, that have sounds, the horns themselves, that make a lot of noise, and doing all the sorts of things you try and want to do to make yourself the biggest, scariest thing on that battlefield, to try and make sure the other lot either decided they didn't want to fight, or you caused them to not want to fight very quickly, demoralize them, that kind of a thing. Anyway, I hope that helps answer your question. It's a good one. Thank you.